Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, Facebook, YouTube. Super excited for tonight's conversation. My name is Nancy Tai Aragbai. I am the convener of the I Am Change conference. This is our second year, and I'm really excited because it is a powerful conference with 40 women coming together across 20 countries for 2 days of empowerment. I mean, we're talking about physical wellness, from physical wellness to financial, spiritual, emotional wellness, mindset, business development, leadership development. So many topics to just partake in. And I'm excited because we have an amazing speaker here today by the name of Shyanne Valentine. Shyanne, will you do the audience a favor and just share a little bit about who you are and your background?
Sure. Hey guys. So I'm actually from a Connecticut native. I like to share that for all my New Englanders. My background is in the mental health industry. I have spent 4 years of my life traveling abroad from China to Kuwait, learning different wellness practices. And a lot of that actually stemmed from a traumatic experience that I went through. My mother had a stroke when I was very young, and that kind of led me to wanting to like dig deeper into this whole world of wellness. And so here I am, a wellness advocate, a wellness champion, all things that are going to put us as women, as people of color, in a space where we are happy, free, and doing everything that we want to do.
Perfect. Thank you. I love that. Happy and free. Tonight's conversation is the power of being whole. And when I think about being whole, the word I think about is like freedom. And so I definitely want to get into today's topic. Can you, before we do get into today's topic, can you just share with the audience what you'll be speaking about on Sunday? You are a Sunday speaker, March 17th. Do you know your time off your on top of your
Or
head?
it's at 4 o'clock.
Okay, so Cheyenne will be speaking Sunday at 4 p.m. If you have not registered for the I Am Change conference, you want to go to strategic-solutions.global and get registered today because Cheyenne will be speaking on Sunday. So let the audience know what you'll be speaking about, and then we'll kind of transition into the conversation.
Sure. So on Sunday, I'm speaking. The title of my session is "What are you getting ready for?" And that question is something that I've often that's just been resonating with me for a very long time. And ultimately, it's about finding the balance between living in the past, preparing for the future, and being present. And finding that balance is really important for everyone's mental well being, because when we live too far in the future, that stimulates this anxious feeling of we need to prepare, we need to get to the next thing. And when we live too far in the past, that creates this depression and the what ifs and the I wish I'd done things differently. And so finding a balance between living in the present moment is really going to be key for us to strive for the greatness that we are looking for.
I love that. And I want to start by giving a little bit of context and a little bit of history of how I even came about really creating the concept of the I Am Change conference. And I want to take your idea and kind of use me as a case study to kind of pull it apart and kind of figure out like how could I have been balanced in that moment. So I want to take you all back to I think it might have been 2022. So for those who don't know, I am the founder of Strategic Solutions Global. We are a leadership institute where we provide professional development for leaders across Africa and the diaspora for women who are really passionate about going global. And at that time, business really started picking up. I was consumed. When I say consumed with my work, so consumed because I'm like, we just got to keep going. We just got to keep going. We're almost there, Nancy, almost there. And I probably neglected all areas of my life other than my work on accident. You're talking about someone who was physically active. I worked out like sometimes twice a day, 5, 6 times a week, really in shape. COVID at that time, I'm post COVID, so my inactivity really slowed down. I'm consumed with my work. I'm not doing physical fitness, barely moving, like literally on my computer all day.
Mm.
Didn't realize I was only taking about 1,000 steps a day. That started to impact my emotional health. I didn't realize it though. And I didn't realize I was actually like really stressed. Started spiraling a little bit. And I say spiraling, I couldn't get into my regular routines. And then it started impacting my spiritual wellness. So like it was almost like this mental fatigue and cloud. And then it started to impact me to the point where like I couldn't really get into my prayer regimen, my worship regimen. It just became a hot mess. And then like I just remember like going off on my siblings, and my twin brother was like, "You are not okay, Nancy."
Mm.
And it was at that point where my brain stopped working. Literally, like I couldn't even make good decisions anymore. And then I knew at that point when my brain stopped working that something was wrong. But I went into that situation. I would say it took something significantly big happening because I'm a strategist and I literally could not think.
Mm.
And so I'm just curious to know, like, how does your philosophy, your theory of practice kind of apply to that situation? What would you offer to the old Nancy? I'm better now, but the old Nancy or anyone who's in a similar situation
Mm.
where they're imbalanced. That's what I would call it.
Yeah. So a big thing, a big starting point is gratitude. And gratitude kind of puts us in a position where we have to acknowledge the now. And that acknowledgement piece will get us to recognize and live in the now a lot better. Um, so, for example, one thing that I started doing was by the end of each day, I would write down 3 wins that occurred from the day. And it could be something as small as, I made up my bed this morning, or, I meal prepped today. And those wins allowed me to recognize and appreciate what occurred today. Not what happened yesterday, not what's going to happen tomorrow, but what occurred today. And that started really training and building up this stamina, because it's really about stamina. It's a practice. Anything that you do in life is a practice. And so we're conditioned to, you know, be on the go, and we're conditioned to like strive and be the strongest and be the toughest, especially as Black women. And so we culturally have not been taught how to live in today, because we're constantly trying to prove ourselves. It is
Mhm.
absolutely great to set goals and to be ambitious, but to your point, when you focus too and you don't give yourself any time to appreciate the present, you start to lose yourself, and you start to lose your vision and your drive and your purpose. So can taking it back, continuing to live in your purpose, the biggest thing to do, really start practicing gratitude. Like that would be a great first step.
I love it. I recently started doing that actually. Adopt a practice of
Nancy, you
gratitude. I
went
have a
out a little
gratitude
bit.
journal. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You
No,
cannot hear me.
might be me. Are you muted?
No.
Not muted. Hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, let me try to troubleshoot. Can you hear me?
That's I can, yeah.
It's me then.
I wonder if the audience can hear. Let's see. You cannot hear me. Huh. Let's
Can
see.
you hear me?
I can hear
That's
you.
I can, yeah.
So they can hear me
I wonder if
on
the audience,
LinkedIn.
Maybe unmute and mute yourself again.
you cannot hear me.
Your audio. Maybe did you disconnect your audio?
This is so weird.
Let's see.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Should I leave and rejoin?
Yeah, how about you do that? Leave and come back and we'll see what happens. So this is what happens. Technical difficulty, technology sometimes fails us. So hopefully Cheyenne comes back. If you are watching, you can go to www dash what am I talking about? www.strategic-solutions.global. Cheyenne, can you hear me?
Sorry.
Okay, so she's back.
I
All
don't know what
right.
is going on.
I was just telling the audience to go and grab their ticket for the I Am Change conference. The beautiful part is if they get a Disruptor ticket, we are launching the app this evening at midnight. So you get to connect directly with speakers. So there's 40 speakers from all over the world, amazing people. If you get the Disruptor ticket, you get to connect for 90 days on the app and make real authentic connections with these amazing, powerful women. Okay, thank you. You're back. Let's continue the conversation. Adopt a practice of gratitude.
Yes, that's our start.
So tell us, and why is that the starting point? I know you mentioned about like taking the time to stop in the present. How does that help us be whole, though? Because I really want to get into this conversation about being whole. You said being whole helps you really be your best self. Something to that extent, I'm paraphrasing.
Mhm.
Helps you to be free, helps you to be your best self. How does gratitude support in that full, getting to your full potential?
Yeah, so the thing about potential is it's a thing, it's a journey, it's a thing that we're always aspiring to. Like, we're always gonna have potential for the next thing, right? Once you reach a certain stage in your life, then you have potential for the next stage in your life, right? And we can often forget about that stage of where we are. And once we start to lose where we are and stop appreciating where we are, there's always going to be this sense of emptiness, that, or feeling that something's missing, because we're always focused on a thing that we do not have yet. And every time we reach that thing, we're now looking for the next thing that we don't have. And it's always, we're always going for what's not there yet. All all in good balance, right? But if we continue in that cycle, there's going to be less and less satisfaction of where we are. So it won't matter how many things
Hmm.
you achieve, how many accolades, there'll never be this sense of wholeness, because you're always going to be reaching for something you don't have yet.
That is really powerful. So the absence of gratitude lends itself to always focusing on the things that you don't have. And when I think about being a change agent, who you're always in the space of the unknown because you're always trying to change something. So there's who it doesn't exist, right?
Mhm.
Change agents live to change the things that don't exist.
Mhm.
And if we do not adopt a practice of gratitude, we essentially are focusing on things that aren't there, and it impacts our ability to be like sustain. I call it sustainable impact.
Mhm.
And there's like points in where like if you don't appreciate your journey of change, so many negative things could happen, right? Like sometimes, and I think we all do it, where it's like, "Ugh, I'm not there yet. There's so much to do. There's such a ways to go until this thing is changed. But sometime going back and just looking, and I'll do this and this is before I start to adopt a practice of gratitude, but I'll be like, oh, and then you kind of like start hyping yourself again, like we made some progress, but those are the moments that, I think it even fuels you to keep on going. And so I actually think it's dangerous. So thank you for naming that. It's dangerous for someone who's in leadership, who's trying to lead change, who's trying to really bring something new to the world, to not adopt a practice of gratitude. It can lead to quite a bit of negativity. Um, is there anything you want to share about this practice of being whole?
Yeah, so just to add to what you were saying, it does start to lead to this negative or downward spiral, because eventually you'll get to a point where you're like, you're so dissatisfied and you've done everything you can in life that you almost become counterproductive to your mission. And so you don't want to get to a stage in your life where everything you worked for now becomes unraveled because you're no longer operating in your purpose. You're operating to fulfill this void or this hole that is not there. And it doesn't matter what that purpose is, right? It could be as grandiose as changing your community. It could be, giving, teaching. Your purpose could be nursing. Your purpose could be being a good friend or being in a faith community. Whatever your purpose is, you want to be able to truly live in that without that downward spiral. So what I'll say is, find those three things that you're grateful for, whether it's in the morning or before you go to sleep, and start to build on that. It doesn't have to only be three, but start to build on that and start to encourage the people around you to do the same thing, because that becomes contagious, and that in itself is a change.
You said something. I had didn't want to lose my train of thought, but I did lose it. But it's okay. Um, it was important. It was a gem too, but it's okay. Well, I'm like, dang, where did it
It's a
go?
diamond.
But
Okay.
that's all right. It was a diamond. It was a big one too, but it's cool. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, that practice, that the gratitude piece. It just again, I'm thinking about just change agents and just the power of. Oh, there we go. I was saying, as you were speaking, I'm hearing, don't be consumed. Be consumed with the journey more than the results. And so I'm thinking about like again just being in your purpose and just like appreciating just the thing in that moment versus like try to get to the destination, trying to get to that outcome, trying to get to that result, because then you end up being hyper focused on that, and it almost in a sense takes you out of purpose work.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I even think too, and this is getting dead, I'm probably taking the topic completely somewhere else, but I think that's a part of being whole, right? Where it's just this perfect balance of who you are. But I think when you get consumed with the results, it almost becomes an ego thing, and it becomes for yourself in a sense, because you're so consumed with I need to achieve versus I just need to be the person who will achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're in gratitude, constantly in gratitude, it has a way of humbling you. Again, I'm picking all this up from what you were saying, but it has a way of sense like humbling you to where I don't know, you're just grounded in your work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because honestly,
That's all.
how can you live in purpose if you don't see what's going on around you? You can have
Come
a
on now.
vision and want to get to a destination, and that's fine. But the people around you are those who are going to help you towards that vision, and those are the ones who are going to be impacted by your vision. But if you cannot see those people, if you cannot see your home and the things that are in front of you, your vision, it's like you're skipping a step. You're skipping over what's here and right now that's going to be impacted by what you're trying to get to. And ultimately, there will be little to no impact because of that. You ever try to give somebody advice for something that they didn't even ask for, or someone was expressing themselves, and you just change the subject and you talking about something completely over here, but the conversation was over there. Like, how are you going to give impact if you can't even see what's right in front of you?
Yeah, that's deep. How can you live in purpose and fulfill a vision essentially if you don't even see what's going on around you? That is very powerful. I think probably more powerful than people may even think. Don't miss that. That's the bar. You might want to write that one down.
That's a bar.
Because, I think about a vision is you see it, right? It's something that happens in the future. You've already seen the future, but you will miss vision if you can't see present.
Yeah.
You can't get to future without present. So that's very powerful. I want to switch and pivot into change. So when the concept of the I Am Change conference came about, it was all about understanding the power of an individual. That it literally takes one person to be change. And then essentially one person to lead change. A lot of people want change. They don't want to be changed, and they certainly don't want to lead change. When I think about someone who's ready to lead change, I almost want to peel it back more and talk about the purpose. The first step is being change, and so thinking about how physical wellness helps somebody be the best version of themselves so they can then lead and change something around them. How much does physical wellness play a part in someone being deciding to, I want to change the world. I'm going to go do X, Y, and Z, right? I'm going to go create that book. I'm going to go start that company. I'm going to go and advocate for this particular law. Whatever it is, whatever cause someone's passionate about and they want to change around them, how much does being physically well support in that endeavor?
It's foundation. It's the,
Hmm.
I think, most important part, because I always pose this question, right? Without our bodies, without our minds, our bodies can't function. Without your mind, your body cannot function, right? In order to have strong mental clarity, you need to also take care of your body. It's like this two-way street. Everything is connected. Our brains, our organs, like everything. And if you're not taking care of that, how are you going to have the mental clarity to do what you need to do, the physical energy to do what you need to do, and just your overall spirit and soul and aura will be impacted by your physical and your mental health. And so if you're not taking care of that, your change again is going to hit a ceiling, because you only have the energy to do this thing. You're only going to have the mental capacity to do this thing. And if you're, you know, tired after 4 hours of speaking or doing things, or if you are, you know, physically exerting yourself or exhausted, or your heart is racing, you know, because you don't have the stamina, the physical stamina to actually put in the work, or the mental stamina to put in the work, then what are we really doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important, and you really nailed it. That's really what the I Am Change conference is about understanding that there's so many different domains that make us whole, and it causes us to be in alignment. And if we're not taking care of one, we fall out of alignment and can be impacting so many others. So you talked about physical wellness, how that can impact mental, emotional, spiritual. You literally begin to fall out of alignment, and then your impact, your capacity of your impact is limited. And what I want people to take away from, because there's a lot of people who don't like to physically work out, like physically, like, "Ah, I'm not going to go to the gym, or "Ah, I'm not going to do this," and nowadays, especially now when you have so many things where you can just avoid the gym and still get results. But it's not about looking the part, it's about being the part so you can be in alignment, so then your capacity for impact can be at the highest level. And so what I'm taking away from this, and what I want others to take away from as well, is get your wellness together overall. That's really what I'm hearing.
You gotta get it
Get
together.
get your
Because what good is your purpose and your journey if you're not going to live long enough to realize it?
come on now. Come on now.
Like, I just think about so many people that have gone on, you know, heart attacks, strokes, you know, things like diabetic problems, like all of these things. And I'm just like, you had so much more life and so many more things you could have accomplished, but because you didn't take care of yourself, your journey stopped short. And you know, God has his reasons for everything, of course, but I truly believe that if we take care of ourselves, we can see it through a little bit longer and a little bit further. You know, you can add 10 more years on your life. That's 10 more years of impact.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I have people do an exercise when I do my leadership trainings, and I ask them, and if you're listening to this, you can do this also. How old are you? And have them write it down. No, the first thing I say is, how old do you want to be when you leave this earth?
Mm.
Because we're all going to die. Okay, it's just a matter of time. But how old do you want to be when you are out of here, right? When you get called home? And I'm like, I want to, God, give me at least 96. Like, I'm cool. Like 96. Anything after that, I'll take anything after that. But let me get 96. What's your number?
I said that's an oddly specific number.
Yeah. What's your number?
I want to hit 100. Take me there.
Okay, Shyanne said 100. Shyanne said, give me
Give me a
100. She wants a
centennial.
century on this planet. Okay, so she want to hit that centennial. Okay, and then I have people take their age
Mhm.
and do the math, right? So how many years is that left? Give or take, roughly, let's just say 70 years, right? And then what I do is have people draw a big X in the middle of that number. You think you have 70 years left of impact, but the reality is that you just don't know. Now, what I will say is, what can you control? We don't know when we're going to go. Freak accidents happen all the time.
Mhm.
Yes, but there's also things that we can do to prolong, to make sure that we do get to that number, that 70 years. What can you do to make sure you're taking care of yourself so your brain is still sharp at 100, so your body is still working at 100, right? So we can control a lot of things. What can she do to make sure she's not giving herself a heart disease at 55 and she can be here till 100 years old? And so when I think about being this beacon of change, well, how long do you want this impact to keep going? And we got to make sure that we're sharp as possible, as healthy as possible, as whole as possible to reach the highest level. I know we're coming up on time, but I do want you to just one share any last tidbits, and then what can they expect from you on Sunday at 4 o'clock?
No. Definitely not telling a thing. I gotta show up.
Like, why should they join? They should join the whole entire conference. They really
Sure.
should. But why should they come see Shyanne Valentine Sunday at 4 p.m.
I'm
Eastern?
dropping gems, okay? Honestly, I'm pulling from my experiences. Like, you know what's funny? I didn't really know that I was like living in the present or practicing this for a long time. So I took a step back and I was like, oh, this is the thing. Or when I took a step back and realized I wasn't practicing it anymore, and that's when I noticed the difference in the shift in my energy. And so when I was living overseas, I was traveling, and I had no choice but to be present. I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out. Like, where am I living? What am I eating? How do I communicate with the driver who doesn't speak English? Like, all the things kind of forced me to live in this now. There also wasn't social media, so it was like a really big reality check. But when I came back to the States, it was like I was having regrets from maybe not staying as long. And then I was like, what do I do next? And I started feeling this pull. I'm like, wait a minute. And I saw this difference in my energy and my ability to really be my best self. And so with that,
Mhm.
I'm going to talk to you guys about how to find that balance of being your best self, of being in the present moment. You know, we did the activity that is just one example, but there's more to it. There's going to be moments where it's just going to be really, really hard. And so we're going to talk about how to really push through in a really tangible way. And I'm excited to
I love
share all of that with you guys. You know, come stay tuned. We're going to talk about some, physical, mental health, like all the things, because we got to get you to your purpose. Okay.
We got it. Listen, we got to get to purpose. Okay. She said she's giving y'all tangible, not the little fake stuff, but the real meat. Okay. So you want to register for the I Am Change Global Empowerment Conference. She's coming with the meat or tofu for those who don't eat meat. She's
Whatever
coming with the tofu,
the broccoli.
coming with fish, whatever your main source of protein is. That's what Shyanne is coming with on Thursday. Practical steps, tangible steps that you can take and walk away with. Again, the I Am Change conference is actually absolutely free. We want people to partake in this collective impact. It's really 40 women coming together across 20 countries to put on 2 days of empowerment, which I think is powerful within itself. These women are choosing to be a part of change, choosing to be a part of this movement, and you can be a part as well by simply registering for the conference. I was like, where did Cheyenne go? By simply registering for the conference. And if you want to connect even further, I would highly recommend that you get on the app and start connecting with these women in real time. Their profiles, their all of their information will be connected. So it's really authentic networking with a group of just amazing, amazing women. Thank you again, Cheyenne, for participating. Where can people? I know this is LinkedIn, but are you on other social medias? Websites, like where can folks find you? Cheyenne is all over the place today. Hold on. Your tag
Is
is a
really bad. I
mess.
know. It's because people are just calling and like I'm on live right now. What's going on? Stop calling. So where can you find me? On my socials, Happy Vibes Brands is my social for Instagram. You can find that on LinkedIn, or you can connect with me personally at Shyanne M Valentine. That is my name. So Instagram as well as LinkedIn. Or you can visit my website, happyvibesbrand.com, because we're here to spread the happiness, the love, the joy, the peace, and the presence.
Happy Vibes Brand on all socials. Shyanne Valentine, you heard her here today.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nancy.
Have a good
You too.
evening. Bye.